What gives you the ick on a first date? The inability to put their phone down. What if it's Pokemon Go? All my exes were crazy. I once saw a woman's post. So many of my exes had mental health issues that my parents joked I was dating my way through the whole ECMIV manual. Baby talk. First date was normal. Couple days later, laying in bed, she starts reading our own texting conversation to me out loud in a high-pitched baby voice. A second later, she said, "Me so funny," in the same voice, and I never went back. I shuddered. As a woman, I also shuddered. I'd get up and leave. I wouldn't care if it was my own house. Talking trash about your ex, or talking a little too fondly of your ex. I don't think a single person wants to hear anything about someone's ex on a first date. Exactly. Almost anything, either positive or negative, about an ex just comes across like you're still hung up on that person. Bad hygiene. Oh God, it's like my biggest fear when I go on a first date. Like, what if I want to kiss them, but their breath is rancid? This and the corresponding fear that your hygiene is worse than you think it is. One date I'll never forget was a junior in high school. Our parents set us up so, yeah, what could go wrong? Basically, the girl just moved into town and our parents were friends and thought I could show her around. All good, Mom and Dad, I got you. Boy, what a terrible date. Think of the most vain girl you have ever met and multiply it by 100. First, she wouldn't stop looking at her phone the entire time, and this was a time where phones still had physical keys, so no idea what she was looking at or who she was texting. Next, she told me at least 10 times about how some agent at the mall contracted her to do modeling for the Gap and her life was going to change. Didn't ask me anything and just talked about herself the entire time. Talk about ick all the way. When they brag about their big girl boy job and how much money they make, being excited about what you do is a huge positive. If the excitement is about the money you make, that's a huge. I've got no problem with people who work to make as much money as possible. Money, freedom. Freedom able to follow your passion and many other things. It's not realistic to think that people in their 20s and 30s can or should work for purpose rather than money. The major one is that if I ever feel publicly embarrassed, ashamed to be around you, it's over. There's a bunch of other little things that I could list, but there's always exceptions with those where it's just dependent on the situation and the person. Curious? Public embarrassment? Shame to be around. What would cause that? When people have no shame and are willing to make a scene or get into fights, major arguments in public, you kind of start to feel like nowhere is safe, lol. Exactly this. And then they expect you to take the fight for them. Now, if it was some stranger antagonizing my date or partner, of course I'll stand up for them. But if it's my date antagonizing people and expecting me to risk my ass for it, no thanks. The most recent time this happened to me, my date walked into the crosswalk without looking and got honked at. She stopped in the middle of the road and started cursing the guy out. Outside of making me uncomfortable, it was a straight up turnoff. Any sort of behavior like making a scene will absolutely turn me off. When they interact with different people and act completely different based on the person. Talks all sweet and smiles at me, but the wait staff, passersby, anyone who could be seen as slighting them is instantly hissed at in some manner over nothing but ego. Also, the phrase boss bitch always got me just shriveling up and leaving ASAP. How they treat people that don't matter to them at the moment is how they will treat you at some point. I casually have sex with my coworkers. Oh, word. Y'all hiring? Crab people. They look like crab but talk like people. But the good news is they also taste like crab. I'll get the butter. Lack of solid oral hygienes. Having someone with bad breath talking to me makes me want to leave ASAP. I know that it doesn't define a person and can be fixed by a dentist and better habits, but I don't want to smell the fetid stench every time my date opens her mouth. Besides, I don't know a way to tell a date that she has bad breath without sounding like a dithead. That's why I make sure beforehand that she has good oral hygiene. A few things but these I have actually experienced. Overtly orange fake tan and peacock feather-sized eyelashes. Rudeness to service staff on our date or generally arrogance. Phrases like, "Yes, queen, I'm my own woman," or "You can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve my busy." In your phone all the time on a date. Again, these things have actually happened to me on first dates. No second dates were had, and even some of them I left before main courses were ordered. I don't say "Yes, queen," but I do say that's iconic and slay a lot. It started out ironic, but now I can't stop. Oh God, I'm a walking ick. Just curious how you wound up on a date with the peacock woman in the first place. Went to meet up with a girl at a popular nationwide wing place. She told me I'm almost done with the blunt. Want to hit it? I'm all sure. Get in her car. She has literally the Hulk dildo in the back seat just laid out right there, not even attempting to cover it. I noped the fuck out of there. Thing was thicker than my wrist. You sure it wasn't a Shrek dildo? All I know is it was green and long. I figured it's part Hulk, but hell, Shrek had kids, it's possible low. If you're asking what an immediate red flag would be, acting like a victim, especially by saying that all your exes were abusive, appearing to just like speaking badly about others, suggesting that you get to decide what men's preferences should be rather than respecting what they choose for themselves. If you mean ick as in a superficial reason to turn someone down because I think of the opposite sex as a candy store for me to whimsically pick and choose. No, good people are rare enough that there aren't enough actually worthwhile partners to think like that. Actually, add hearing her say that someone gave her an ick to my list of red flags. Horoscope and card reading shit, or any mystical thinking in general. Is that different than any other religion? Serious question. Pisses always say that's. More stories on the channel. RedStore.